Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. My name is Victor, and I am honored to be of service this morning. We hope that our service, our sangha this morning, finds each and every one of you happy and healthy, but also please know that if you're struggling in any way, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center, the teachers, the teachings can all be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. Let's begin this morning with some conscious breath work. A conscious breath is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, hold that breath for a few moments, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding that breath for just a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs. Releasing, and as you release, checking in with the body. What's present in the body right now? Is it a mind state? Is it a sense of ease? Is it an anxiety or perhaps a restlessness? Whatever is present in the body in this moment, we embrace the truth of that instead of our thoughts about the way we wish things were. And a second conscious breath together. And releasing. And with every out breath, the body becomes more gentle, easy, spacious and light. Checking in, making sure that there's no points of tension or contraction. For example, the forehead or the eyebrows. Letting the shoulders drop. Letting the belly soften. And a third conscious breath together. And as you release, inviting into your awareness the present moment. Thoughts will come and go. Thoughts about the future, thoughts about the past. And we just allow them to come and go, rise and fall, as we cultivate presence. As we unhook from the energy of going and doing and allow ourselves to cultivate the energy of just being. And so here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our services with a little bit of chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. Chanting is not about being a singer. It's about having a voice. Chanting is about a deeply devotional expression of what is sacred within you and sharing that with the world. Our chant this morning is Om Amidewa Ze, Om Amidewa Ze. And this is a chant that in the Buddhist tradition enhances compassion. Compassion for all beings, including ourselves. And so with that, we can take a conscious breath, and I'll invite Rochelle to tone us in. Together. Om Amidewa Ze. 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 Deva Ze. Om Ami Deva Ze. Om Ami Deva Ze. Om Ami Deva Ze. Once more. Om Ami Deva Ze. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, it's growing, it's changing, it's learning with us as we become more informed about the human condition, about how science and spirituality interact. Western Buddhism is not only dynamic, but it's also inclusive, and it's active. And it focuses on core Buddhist insights, as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or philosophy or sect of Buddhism, but rather it's on a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, sharing from the heart, or spending time in noble silence, we respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, bringing a fresh new perspective to each and every encounter. Also, the second jewel, the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And Sangha, spiritual community, an essential part of growth, where we come together to practice the teachings in a community of like-minded practitioners, and where we come together to support each other along every step of the path. And so let's take a moment to silence any cell phones or electronic devices as we prepare for a time in contemplation, recitation, and meditation. We're going to begin with the prayer of refuge. We will recite this prayer 3 times for the 3 jewels. Conscious breath. Together. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And so as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then I invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you. If, however, you are new to meditation, then we're going to begin with a dedication of intention. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels, and then our teacher today, Mr. Robert Brumet, will lead us in a guided meditation that's designed to assist you in moving into the stillness. We will spend approximately 10 to 12 minutes in noble silence this morning, connecting not only with ourselves, but also our Sangha, both here in the room and our Sangha that is joining us from all around the world, connecting with everyone in consciousness. And so with that, let's take a conscious breath together. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
As the sound of the bell slowly recedes into the silence, we follow that sound as it goes into the silence. Allowing the mind to become quiet, allowing the body to relax. And just noticing all that parts of ourself where there's resistance of any kind. And just gently welcome that experience. Just breathe into it, soften, relax. So embracing the entire body with awareness, with acceptance, with relaxation. And noticing the contents of the mind noticing any tension, resistance. Any sleepiness or restlessness, wanting. We just notice all of it and allow it to be here. We allow the body and the mind to just unwind. To unwind and to move into the flow of life. Breath by breath. Moment by moment. We allow, we notice, we let go. We let go. And then we let go. noticing the breath, noticing the sensations in the body, the activity of the mind, and then noticing hearing, letting the sounds come to your ear. Feeling the body sitting in the chair, sitting on the cushion. Just noticing if there's any place that doesn't want to let go or doesn't want to embrace. And it's okay. Just be aware. Allow. In a moment, you will hear the sound of the bell. And as you do, I invite you to very gently open your eyes and add seeing to the sense gates of which you are aware. Feeling the body, noticing the mind, seeing and hearing. Coming back fully to life, fully present in each moment. And here's the bell. Just notice how your sense of self and reality changes when the eyes are open. Whole new reality comes into view. But it's the same practice. Eyes open, eyes shut. One eye open, one eye shut, however you want to do it. The title of our talk today is Carl Jung, the Buddha, and the Riverboat Gambler. Let's begin with Carl Jung. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist, pioneer with Freud, Sigmund Freud, in developing psychoanalytic theory, which was one of the earliest forms of psychotherapy. In modern times, that is. Freud died in 1960, 61, so he kind of laid the groundwork for the next 50 or so years. And I think his work is still very relevant. I'd like to begin with one quote of his that you may be interested in. I know I am. Jung says or writes, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And then he adds, the latter procedure, however, is disagreeable and therefore not popular. I think that's the understatement of the century. What Jung is alluding to here is talking about what we often call shadow work. Shadow work is that process that usually is associated with psychology or psychotherapy more than Dharma practice. But here in the West, as Victor says every Sunday morning, that we're taking the best of the West and the best of the East and forging out a spiritual path for Westerners that is unique throughout history. And so one of the best in the West is Carl Jung. He talked about making the shadow conscious, and that's necessary to become a whole person, to become whole and not fragmented, to come into integrity with oneself, to be authentic. It's important to embrace the dark places. So let's talk about what we mean by shadow. The shadow usually means some aspect of the unconscious that was at one time conscious, and we've repressed it. So in other words, it's passed through our conscious awareness and then locked up in the basement, so to speak. So there's two reasons why we may repress experience, particularly when we're young, when we're children, is that it's too painful to bear. You know, when people, children in particular, are traumatized, that experience often is tucked away, out of sight, sometimes for decades. We may not even know that it's there. In fact, most of us don't, until some event or some period in our life unearths it, just like a storm will unearth an archaeological artifact. Sometimes the storms in our life will unearth artifacts from our past. So that's one aspect of it. It's too painful to bear, so we shove it into the basement. Also, there are times when we have experiences that are not consistent with our identity, and very quickly they're gone. Oh, I'm not an angry person. I'm very spiritual, you know, I'm a Buddhist. I don't get angry. I just get even once in a while. I don't get angry. So, or whatever it is in our own conditioning. It's virtually all of us in our culture have those parts of ourselves that we are afraid of, or we're ashamed of, or they're just too painful to look at, or so we believe. And it's probably true that it was too painful to look at when we were 3 or 4 or 5 years old. It's not too painful to look at when we're 30, 40, or 50 years old, you see. But the problem is that part of the mind still thinks it's 3 or 4 or 5 years old. It doesn't realize that it's 30 or 40 or 50, you see. It hasn't grown up. So to be psychologically healthy and whole, we must reclaim all of the disowned parts of ourselves. How do we do that? Very much like the Dharma practice. We become aware of it, and we embrace it, we welcome it. We just make friends with all parts of ourselves. And particularly when we're meditating over a period of time, often at retreats where we're sitting for a week or 2 weeks or more, that's when the archaeological artifacts start coming to the surface. We become aware of buried treasures and buried demons. And so typically the student will come to the teacher and want to know what to do with it. Well, and a wise teacher will know whether it's time to embrace what's coming up or to let it go. Carl Rogers, as well as Carl Jung, says that the first thing to do is to embrace all parts of ourselves. Doesn't mean cling to them, but it means just hold them. Shake hands with them, so to speak. Give them a hug if you can, but at least smile at them. And it's, as Jung says, disagreeable. It's not easy. It takes courage. And oftentimes it's helpful if we have a therapist or a teacher or a guide to be with us, because some of the feelings can be quite overwhelming, or so it feels. So now let's shift gears to the Buddha. The Buddha says, cling to nothing as self. Cling to nothing as self. Jung is telling me to embrace it. The Buddha is telling me to let it go. So the Dharma practice can appear 180 degrees opposite of what our psychotherapists may be telling us. You know, one friend of mine says, my psychotherapist is trying to strengthen my ego. My spiritual teacher's trying to get rid of it. You know, what do I do with it? Do I do weightlifting, or do I try to use Drano or whatever? So shadow work is discovering parts of ourself that are us, that are me, but we haven't acknowledged them. In other words, we're fragmented. So the first step is to become whole. And so that can be done in the Dharma practice. It can be done in many ways, but the bottom line is, quote, loving ourselves, loving all parts of ourselves. The Buddhist practice is looking at all parts of ourselves and realizing that there's no self there. And it's not done by rejection. It's not done by suppression. It's done by studying, looking at what appears to be the self. And the more we look for it, the longer we look for it, the more intensely we look for it, guess what we find? There's nothing real there. It's all smoke and mirrors. You see? Doesn't mean we don't exist. You know, you exist much, much more than you or I realize. Our existence is infinite. But our self is non-existent. You know, that which I call me, my biography. You see? Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Simply means it's simply a story about what happened. Because what happened isn't here, other than what we hold on to in our own mind, you see. But so before we can let it go, we need to embrace it. To meditate is to study the self. To study the self is to dissolve the self. That's what Dogen said 1,000 years ago, Japanese teacher. But first we must embrace. So in the Dharma practice, we embrace, and then we let go. You take a breath in, you let go of that breath. The breath is a powerful, wonderful metaphor for the practice. Accepting is the yes, bringing acceptance to all of our each experience, and then not holding on to any of it, just letting it go. Just as easy as breathing. But most of the time, there's resistance to that breathing. We don't want to let it all in, or we don't want to let it go, all go. The practice goes both ways, welcoming and releasing. So shadow work is needed to become a whole person, psychologically healthy. In anatta, or no self, is that of letting go so that we can become what we really are. Sometimes I say to be a beautiful, healthy butterfly, we have to become an ugly, healthy caterpillar. Caterpillars aren't really ugly. Not to other caterpillars. But we must embrace each step in the journey and then let it go. You know, the caterpillar can't rush the process. Try to become a butterfly in 3 easy sessions or something. You can't do it in a weekend seminar. You got to let it mellow. You got to let it happen organically. And just as the self is very much like the caterpillar, the self, the ego, if you will, that which we identify, is simply a prelude to what we really are. So we have to embrace, we have to let go. How do I know which one to do in any given moment? That's where the riverboat gambler comes in. He tells us when to hold them and when to fold them, right? So it's all in the timing. How do I know when to hold them? Well, if there's any resistance, that's the time to embrace it. That which I resist needs to be embraced. And on the other hand, that with which I identify, good grammar can be a pain in the neck, you know. That I identify with is not me after all. So it's kind of the opposite of when you play draw poker. If you know how to play draw poker, you get 5 cards. And typically, you throw away your 2 or 3 worst cards and keep 2 or 3 of the best cards. See? But this game that we're playing here is just the opposite. You see, you hold the worst cards, you let go of the best cards. And the reason for that is you're not trying to win because you already are the jackpot. You already own everything on the table, and much, much more, you see. So the only way we can do it is by letting go. And the only way we can let go is if we embrace, you see. If I say, you know, Victor, let go of this. Can he do that? He can do it only if he holds it first, right? You can't let go of it until you hold it. So it has to be held, has to be embraced. Then when the time is right, I can let him go. I can fold him. So embrace what you resist. Let go of that which you are attached to. And just have fun. And know that you know when to hold them, you know when to fold them. And enjoy the process.
Thank you, Robert. Let's take a moment to just breathe in. Feel the teachings. Let them resonate the heart. Don't let the head run amok with trying to analyze, understand, associate. And just drop in and connect. And as we transition now from the Dharma talk into our heart practice, it is not uncommon to want to perhaps shift your posture, maybe stretch a little, move around, take a conscious breath. And so from here, a loving kindness or metta practice is, as I said, a heart practice. It's not a conceptual, it's not a mind thing. So the invitation is to allow your heart to open. The only aspect of a heart practice that is intellectual is holding an image in your mind's eye, an imagination. All the rest is simply a heart opening. And it is also not uncommon for some folks like to add to this some sort of an external gesture. For example, creating the Anjali Mudra or the heart focusing. Some folks like to place a hand on their heart. And others might want to simply allow their hands to rest on their lap, perhaps with the palms facing upward as sort of an open gesture. And so with that, let's take a conscious breath. And as you exhale, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of you, a full body image of the form that has been given your name and that has accrued the many experiences over the years. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we recite silently to ourselves these words of metta practice. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a friend of yours. Holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. As you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a difficult person in your life, a challenging person. Could be a boss or a coworker, could be a neighbor, classmate, or a political figure. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of the world, all the plants and the flowers and the trees, all the animals of the land, the sea, the sky, and all sentient beings, including ourselves. Holding this image in your mind's eye, let us send metta to us all. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And in the true spirit of Dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you may have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge will find it here in this temple with these teachers, with these teachings. And we take a moment of and the Dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall. And we take a moment of gratitude for all of our wonderful ambassadors who have committed to regular monthly electronic giving. If you'd like to become an ambassador, you can simply stop by our website, templebuddhistcenter.com, and click on the Love Offering button. Also, tremendous gratitude for all of our amazing volunteers. So many folks who work tirelessly each and every day to bring to our Sangha, both near and far, opportunities for connection, spiritual nourishment, enrichment, counseling, recovery. There are so many things that so many people do. It is truly a blessed Sangha that we have here. Also, gratitude to Rochelle for your music. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much, Mr. Robert Brumet, our teacher, for everything that you do for Temple Buddhist Center and for me. Everything he does completely on a Dana basis. And so we are so blessed to have Robert's teachings. And also, don't forget, thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart and your presence and your cookies and your heart and your practice with all of us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We are very, very blessed to have a thriving, wonderful, loving, and caring community. And so I will go ahead, and also everybody up in the heavenly abodes, did not forget you guys. And so with that, we will move to our closing dedication, the Bodhicitta dedication. I'm ending just a few moments early today because we have a number of announcements, some of them very important that I want to share with you guys. And so with that, we'll take a conscious breath together. And we will recite our Bodhicitta dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with the palms of our hands together in front of our hearts, as we go forth now from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. A couple of things. Again, don't forget that our post-service discussion group is happening at 10:15. Also, our lending library is filled with all kinds of Dharma readings. And downstairs is coffee and cookies. And I apologize terribly. Last Sunday, I sent everybody downstairs, and that was the homecoming. And so I didn't realize that they needed the room to prepare for the homecoming. So I hope you were able to get something. But today, the coffee and cookies are downstairs. They are in temple space, which is the little yoga room right next door to Unity Hall. And the reason why, dun, 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 our rummage sale is going on. And so if you would like to stop by the rummage sale, it begins at 10. There's raffles, there's all kinds of things that folks have donated. There's books on meditation, there's a bicycle, there's all kinds of stuff. There's a bandolin, there's a car topper, tons of great stuff down there. So please stop by the rummage sale and see what you can find down there. Lots of great goodies. And all of the money from the rummage sale goes to benefit our Pathways program, which is our new youth and family program that is being headed up by our very own TBC member, Beth Sarver. And it also goes to help KC Restoration School, which she is the proprietor of that school. Some wonderful, amazing things going on. Also, every now and then, a wandering, sojourning Dharma teacher comes through Kansas City. And when they do, they always make a stop here at Temple Buddhist Center. On Sunday, October 2nd, Hugh Byrne is going to be here from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Hugh is a PhD, a teacher, a social activist. He works to apply the wisdom and compassion of Buddhist teachings to the social, political, economic, and environmental concerns of our time. He is a teacher at the Insight Meditation Community of Greater Washington and teaches in the U.S. and internationally. And he's going to be coming through Kansas City, so I hope that you can join us Sunday, October 2nd from 1 to 3 for not only a Dharma talk by Hugh, but also a guided meditation practice that he's going to be sharing with us. There'll be a $10 love offering at the door to enter. I'm going to try to have a registration page put up this week. Also, he does request that everybody wear masks as a way to keep everybody safe and healthy. Also, Dennis is heading up the Renaissance campaign. Hi, Dennis. Thank you so much. Dennis is going to be out in the lobby. Is that correct? So as soon as you exit the meditation hall, he's going to be staffing a table and talking to people. The Renaissance campaign, the capital campaign for the building for Unity Temple as a geographic location and structure, as well as the communities, all the wonderful communities that inhabit and grow and transform and learn here, there's some things that we need to do, some infrastructure items that we need to address. And to do that, Dennis is putting together a number of big events, and we need some volunteers to help work these events. What kinds of things are we doing? I think there's a big dinner, and what else is going on?
There'll be lots of dinners and chocolate.
Well, enough said.
There'll be a chocolate fountain. Volunteer will be fun.
Okay, thank you, Dennis, so much for everything you're doing to help facilitate and put that together. So please stop by and talk to Dennis to see if there's a particular event you could help him put together for the wider community, both the recovery community, the unity community, the TBC community, and all the little communities that also meet that some folks might not even be aware of. And I think with that, oh, don't forget Interplay every Sunday now from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, which is an opportunity for adults to come together in a safe and compassionate environment to learn to rediscover the spontaneity of play, to rediscover the joy of connecting with other folks in a fun, laughter-filled experience. I went and did it with her right before, actually it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. It is a lot of fun and really helps us to play and enjoy each other. So with that, I'll put up our little flyer here. Don't forget post-service discussion. Our recovery groups meet at 12:30 every Sunday. Dave leads recovery Dharma on Thursdays at 7 o'clock. And so lots of wonderful things happening. Thank you all so much as you go into your day. Peace and blessings.